Hello and welcome here to the 2017 Spring Sports Preview Show. My name is Devin Poslesny and I'm going to be your lead host, interviewee, and editor for this show tonight as we are getting ready here at BHS to open up those beautiful athletic fields and play some spring sports. This show will be a test/pilot show as to what DP Production Group's myself and Belmont High School Athletics will do over the course of the next 4 seasons, as in a year's time, 4 seasons, I will be graduating. I know, it's sad. Anyways, over the course of the next 30 minutes, we will have the 2017 Spring Sports Stats. We'll interview the coaches. We'll have so much more here for you as we are getting ready to finally get back outside and play some athletics. So without further ado, let's get things started. On these fields, hundreds of hours of practice will be logged over the course of the next 13 to 14 weeks. 94 regular season games will be played. On these fields, champions will be formed and sportsmanship will be the number one objective. These fields are where we will bring pride to Belmont High School and play this spring. As we continue to prepare ourselves for the spring sports season, we also prepare ourselves for one of the craziest seasons all year. Spring sports usually consists of long days, warm temperatures, and unfortunately in some cases, muddy field conditions. One team that knows those muddy field conditions all too well is our varsity baseball team, as normally they have to start their season playing at Bryant Field, as our field here at the high school continues to dry out. So without further ado, let us go into our team previews and start us off with varsity baseball. The 2016 varsity baseball season didn't end as they wanted, but with a 14-4 record, including the playoffs, none of those boys can be walking away with their heads down. Only losing 3 seniors, Coach LeBlanc is very optimistic going into the season, as they have 17 games to try and prove themselves as a team to beat this year. So now I'm sitting here with the varsity baseball head coach, Mr. Matt LeBlanc. First of all, forgot to hit record in the last take, so let's try this again. First of all, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Dev. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So, first of all, just in general, you've been looking at the team for about a week or so now. How do you feel going into the season?
We feel pretty good. We've had an opportunity to have several players play for a number of years, and we're returning 8 starters, 9 starters to a team that was a top 3 team all of last year, and we're also returning a senior who was injured as a junior and was a starter for us as a sophomore. So we know that we have a bunch of experience coming into the year, and hopefully that experience can translate into wins and a successful season.
All right, so I guess that just rolls right into the next question. With limited or small number of seniors leaving last year, and now making a fairly good-sized team returning, is it business as usual, or are you learning from mistakes you guys made last year and putting them toward, or what is your approach?
Well, if you include the year prior, we lost Joe Levesque as our only senior. So truly we've lost 3 starters in 2 years, which lends itself to having a ton of experience for some younger guys. And now those guys are kind of coming of age. Add to that a sophomore group who, as freshmen, had a very big impact on us last year. Um, we look forward to this season, and we think that with the experience that they've gained, with the playoff experience that they've gained, it's all been so invaluable that hopefully things are just going to come together and we play what we call our brand of baseball, and hopefully that leads to, again, a successful season.
All right, so last question. Won't hold you up anymore. What does your team need to do in order to raise a baseball championship banner in the gym?
Winning a championship obviously would be quite the thrill, and we'd be pretty happy with that. However, we're coming out of the gate worried about each game individually. I think what we have to do really is treat each game as a season in itself, um, and hopefully things play out the way we want them to. Like I said, the experience is so invaluable, and we've got quite the group to coach and to have as part of the Belmont High School team. Um, Between the juniors, the seniors, and then the sophomores that are kind of coming together here, we think that we have a pretty talented group who, if they stick to what they can do and they meet their personal and team goals, ultimately will have a successful season. Excuse me. Um, as far as raising a banner, that'll, like I said, be icing on the cake. Hopefully, the ball bounces our way. Hopefully, we take care of the things that we need to take care of. But ultimately, we just want to look at each game individually and maybe a championship if we get it. So.
Sounds really good. All right, well, made sure to hit record. We went through everything perfectly. I just want to say good luck this season and look forward to seeing you guys out on the field. Good luck indeed to the varsity baseball team. Coming up, we're going to talk to the girls varsity lacrosse coach, but first, we're going to head down to the track and talk to Coach Clark and preview the 2017 track and field season. Well, here at BHS, we have 4 athletic fields that are used for spring sports, and each of them have their own melting time and draining patterns, which, believe it or not, go hand in hand. But one of the fields that drain and dry and melt the quickest is our track and field facility that is used by, guess what, our track and field team. So they are now the next team up in our spring sports preview. In 2017, Belmont High School is moving up in the world as far as track and field. This year we'll host 2 major meets, the Wilderness Meet on May 20th and the Division III State Championship Meet on May 27th. That is just 2 of the meets that will be on the 2017 schedule. These 11 meets will challenge these athletes to no end. With 7 seniors being lost last year, this track and field team will have to step up their game like they always do each and every year. All right, well, now I'm standing here with the varsity track and field coach, Mr. Clark. How are you?
Well, thank you.
All right, that's good. So we got 3 quick questions for you. First of all, how do you feel going into this season?
How do I feel? Well, I'm 51, so I feel old. But Devin, about the team, we have about 65, 70 kids. Every one of them are athletes. I just look for kids to show up, be patient with the progression. We have some really talented kids in this school, and I'm thinking that we will really do quite a nice show come the end of the season.
That's awesome. So, which any team like girls 4x4, boys 1600, etc. Do you think will strive the most this season? Like what team, or do you think it'll all strive equally, or what are you thinking?
So if you're asking for like a finite group that will shine perhaps on the track team, you've got to just it's hard because track is really about progression, so you progress all the way through. So you look for the upperclassmen simply because you've had more time to work with them. So what does that mean? It means we'll have all the relay teams will be exceptionally good. They were very good last year. They're going to be really good this year. 3 or 4 of the distance kids, both sides, meaning the longer relays, the distance kids, they're really good. We're going to have 2 or 3 weight kids that have been doing it for a long while. You know, those are points. Hurdlers, we got a kid that has been to New England's already for hurdlers. I mean, he's going to be right in the mix of things. So you look for that top level, and then everyone filters in behind that.
Nice. All right, so now just a blanket question for basically all the teams. Just I'm switching out the sport. What does your team have to do this spring to raise a championship banner in the gym?
Oh, so you may not like this answer, but championship banners really aren't an end-all goal for me and my coaching, quite honestly, because you've got to look at that as almost an end product, Devin. So if these kids show up every day and they're athletes every day and they're athletes in the rest of their lives and they're up with their academics, they will progress. When your only goal is to do your absolute best on that day, we have amazing things happen. And that is what produces the banners. Not going for a banner, but going for your best is really what happens. And that's where I'm at.
All right. So any other things you want to say real quick? Since I'll give you some extra time since we got interrupted.
No, quite honestly, I mean, Belmont High School is filled with athletes. Filled. All you need to do is get out there, try the sport, trust your coach, be good with your colleagues and your peers, and you will have the time of your life because you are only in high school once.
All right. Well, good luck this season, and I look forward to seeing you out on the track. Back over to you, Dev. Well, thanks, Dev. Coming up next, we're going to talk to the girls' varsity softball coach, but first, we're going to head over to the lacrosse field and talk to Coach Lander about their upcoming season. In 2017, the girls' varsity lacrosse team will be sporting brand new uniforms, very stylish, and the girls seem to really like them. But that won't be the only change you see on the field. They're also going to be missing, unfortunately, 9 seniors due to graduation last year. But Coach Lander is also very excited this year because this is the 3rd year in the program, meaning her junior class is her originals. So she's excited to see if what those juniors will be able to do as they can put all 3 years of experience under their belt and charge on into the 2017 season. So now, without further ado, it's time to go to the girls' varsity lacrosse preview. 2016 marked another building year, as it was the second season in the history of girls' varsity lacrosse here at BHS. Losing 9 seniors, Coach Lander is very optimistic that this year will be another one of those building years as well. But as she has now the juniors, who she's had for 3 years strong, she's looking forward to seeing what they can do over the course of the next 14 games here in the regular season. All right, so I'm now standing here with the girls' varsity lacrosse coach, Coach Lander. First of all, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So we just got 3 simple questions for you. Keep it quick, promise. So you've seen the team for about a week or so now. How do you feel going into the season?
I feel really excited. We have a good group of girls, great leaders on the team this year. Just like the last 3 years, it's been a pretty small team, but filled with great potential. So that's always exciting to see what we can do as far as molding new athletes for the game of lacrosse.
Perfect. So this is your 3rd year coaching the girls lacrosse program here at BHS. Is there anything that you've learned these past 2 years that you're going to apply to this year, or kind of just keep going?
Definitely. I think that the last 2 years taught me to be very flexible, just to take deep breaths, and we're building a program here, so I think that learning what worked first year, second year, and applying it to the 3rd year, I think conditioning is a huge thing for us, so that's something that we're going to be focused on a lot this year. So it's definitely what we're taking away from the first 2 years.
Perfect. So last question, we're kind of asking all the coaches this, really just talking about success, because I know the wording's a little weird. But what does your team need to do this season in order to raise a championship banner in the gym?
I think that we're definitely at a spot where we're still developing the program pretty big. So I think as far as this year, giving it everything we can on the field at practices, implementing things that we need to change. So focusing on the positives, but the negatives and things that we can work on every day in practice, and then giving it that 100% effort. And then over the years, building the program, getting the word out, starting a youth program. And I think that will eventually get us there.
Awesome. Well, I wish you luck this season, and I look forward to seeing you guys out on the field.
Thank you.
Good luck to the entire girls lacrosse team in their 2017 season. Coming up, we're going to talk to Coach Primo for boys lacrosse, but first we're going to go over to the softball fields and talk to Coach Clary about their upcoming season. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. As we continue on in our preview show here, it's time to go over and cover the other sport that involves hitting a ball with a bat and running around bases. It's time to go over to the girls' varsity softball preview. With only losing 2 seniors last year, the girls' varsity softball team has a lot of hope coming into 2017. Last year's record was 14-4, same as baseball. Of course, that is including playoffs as well. But going into the 16 regular season games scheduled, these girls have fire in their eyes and they are super excited to get back out on that field. I'm now standing here with head coach of the varsity softball team, Mr. Bill Clary. First of all, how are you?
Great, Devin. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, no problem. So we just got a couple of quick questions for you. First of all, you've had about a week or so of seeing what the team looks like. How do you feel going into the season?
We're a little thin. We only have 13 players, but we feel very confident every girl that's out here can contribute this year. And, all 13 will see some playing time.
All right. So now, next question is just a little bit of a two-parter. We'll break it down for you. With big name players like Prescott and Claremont graduated last year, how do you feel going into the season? Because we know Megan, she was one of your top pitchers, and Claremont was a really good infielder.
Um, you could ask me that question every year. Every year we lose our seniors, and every year we prepared to replace them. We knew who was going to pitch this year last year. We knew who was going to move into second base. We prepare our players for a primary position, and then they have a secondary position. So everybody was ready to step up. Jordan Sargent's going to step in a second base role, and Lizzie Fleming's going to hopefully get most of the innings and pitching, and we'll be fine replacing those two seniors.
Awesome. So then, I guess this is you kind of already answered it. What have you and your coaching staff done to kind of fill the void of those two seniors? Obviously, you do this every year, so you guys are down to it.
I think the girls coming into this year were prepared. They knew what positions they were going to be playing. So if we have them prepared the year before. We do obviously have to make some changes, but this year I think we're pretty solid. We don't have to move too many people around. Last year we were moving outfield as the infield. This year we really don't have to make that adjustment.
All right. So last question here, and this is kind of the blanket statement we've been asking all these coaches. This: what do you and your team have to do this year to raise one of those championship softball banners in here?
Division 3 is probably the most competitive division out there. We have 27 teams. If we play our game, we play defensive ball, and we score the runs when we have the opportunities, we'll be fine. We'll be in the playoffs again, and we just want to go further than we have in the past.
All right. Well, I'll just say good luck this season, and we look forward to seeing some of your games.
All right, Devin, thanks a lot for everything you do.
Up next, we're going to finish out the show talking to Coach B about the unified volleyball season. But first, we're going to talk to Coach Primo about the boys' varsity lacrosse season, as he is very excited for this year. Don't go anywhere. All that coming right up. "2017 will mark the second full varsity lacrosse season for boys lacrosse, and Coach Primo is very excited to be able to build upon what they learned in 2016. Although 2016 was not the way they really wanted it to go, he's also, like I said, very excited to see what they can do here in 2017. So without further ado, let's head over to the boys varsity lacrosse preview. 2016 marked the first ever varsity season for the boys lacrosse team. Unfortunately, though, Coach Primo lost 7 seniors. But with that being said, same as with girls lacrosse, this year's junior class will be the third year that Coach Primo will have those athletes. The 14-game regular season schedule will be a tough road ahead for these boys, but I believe they're up for the challenge. So I'm now standing here with the boys varsity lacrosse coach, Coach Primo. First of all, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, no problem. So we just got 3 quick questions here. Sounds like a murder's happening out in the hallway. It's all good. We'll just keep moving on. So just got 3 quick questions for you. Yeah, I guess that's accurate. All right. Yeah. So 3 quick questions for you. First of all, you've had a week or so looking at the team. How do you feel going into the season so far?
Well, so far it's interesting. We've got a few more athletes come out, which is good. We started the season off with like 9 players, so we're up to 13 players. We'd love to have a few more kids come out. Some kids that are athletes would be great. Even beginners and kids that aren't athletes, we can make them athletes. So it's a positive this year. So.
All right. So last year, unfortunately, you lost 7 seniors. But I know that you have a strong junior class that's been with you since the beginning. Is it business as usual, full steam ahead, or is this year more like a rebuilding type year?
It seems like right now it's always rebuilding. Yeah, it's a 4th year with some of these kids, so they're starting to understand the game a little bit better, which is great. The problem being is we need more of them. Chaz being a leader on the team, and high scorer, all-state first team last year, helps, but we definitely need more guys like that to make make our program, a little bit more successful. That, key players like that.
All right, well, that makes sense. So, just a blanket question. I know we were talking about this before the interview, but just a blanket question I'm asking all the coaches. What does your team, you and your team, need to do this season to possibly or to raise a championship banner for boys lacrosse in here?
It's an interesting question. There's a lot of things that can happen. Like an earthquake could swallow up the rest of the state, and a lot of teams could disappear. But that's probably not going to happen. But to be not to be so cynical, but we're a ways off from even considering that. Being the fourth smallest school in Division III, we're not pulling out a lot of kids yet into lacrosse. So to raise a banner, I'm not sure is anything that we have focus for. Right now, we're looking at breaking it down smaller games, winning quarters, winning battles, winning halves, and then we'll see how we do after that. Key more focus this year is to see what can we do with the talent that we have. Whether we win a quarter and have success through that, we win a half, success with that, or again we win a game or two. But we want to keep. We obviously want to have goals, lofty goals. But there's some pretty good teams out there. One of them just down the street in Laconia. They got a lot of guys returning. They're pretty defending the Division III champs. So it's going to be a tough road. We'll take our lumps early in the season, but as I always tell the guys, the first game is not the most important game. It's the last game that's the most important game, and we'll see how that plays out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Good luck this season. We look forward to seeing you guys on the field. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Coach B about unified volleyball as well as my final thoughts to round out the show. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Last but certainly not least, it's time to preview the unified volleyball season. This is the third year in the program's history here at BHS, and Coach B is very excited and optimistic about this season. So without further ado, let's head over. The 2017 unified volleyball season will mark the third year in the program's history. This year, the team brings on and welcomes Mr. B as their new head coach. And in total, they will have a 5-game season, not including playoffs, of course. 2 of those 5 regular season games would be at home on April 17th against Prospect Mountain and May 18th against Franklin. Both of those games will be live streamed on Belmont High School Athletics YouTube channel. All right, well, now I'm standing here with the varsity unified volleyball coach, Mr. B. First of all, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
All right, so we have a couple of questions here for you, if my eye surface will work. All right, so third consecutive year or third year in the history of the program, how do you personally feel going into this season?
I think we got a bunch of kids coming up that are really excited to play. The athletes are excited. The partners are really excited. We got about, I think, 12 partners right now, and I think we are ready to get started. Our first practice is next Thursday, so we're looking forward to starting our practices and get into our 5 games that we're playing.
Awesome. So next up, we just got as a coach, you coach some of these kids in unified basketball this past winter. How do you feel they will respond to you in a different sport come this spring?
Yeah, I think it's all about having fun. I think the kids, respond to me great. I think, and we have a good relationship. And I think even though it's a new sport, I'm gonna still bring that same mentality of having fun, working hard. That's definitely something that they do no matter what, and I appreciate that out of them. And like I said, work hard, have fun, and then see how the ball bounces, literally during the games. So.
All right. Well, it's definitely fun watching any unified sport, basketball, volleyball, whatever it is. So you coaches do a great job with that. Lastly, kind of the general blanket question for all the coaches: what does your team have to do this spring to raise a unified championship volleyball banner in the gym?
Well, obviously we like to see that. The most important thing we're going to do is, I think, have fun and learn how to play the game the right way. But like I said, if the ball bounces the right way for us, and we got some kids that can hit, I think based on the amount of work that they do, I think we got a good chance, as good as a chance as anybody, to to bring home the championship for Unified Volleyball.
All right. Well, this good luck this season. We look forward to seeing you guys perform this season. And back over to you, Dev. I cannot wait to watch those athletes play volleyball on this very gym. I am so excited for that season. And as you heard in that preview, we're gonna live stream 2 of their games here in the gym, which is gonna be even better because who doesn't like watching live sports on the internet? Anyways, so with that, that's going to do it for our 2017 Spring Sports Preview Show. As I said before, this show is a test/pilot as to what's to come in the next year. As in the next year, we have Spring Sports 2017, Fall Sports 2017, Winter Sports 17-18, and Spring Sports 2018. And then at the end of Spring Sports, I graduate, unfortunately. So, like I said, this was a good test to see what we can do as far as in the next 4 seasons. But until we see each other for spring sports that will hopefully start within a week or so, if Mother Nature allows, thank you all for joining me here. I'm Devin Poslesny. Have a good night, everybody, and so long.